Duelers is a film about dueling piano players playing their usual nights at the club when they discover that the owner has sold the club tonight, and they're all losing their jobs tomorrow, and they have to sort of wrestle and grapple with the crisis that unfolds, and friendships, love, and all the other things when you're in your final moments. What do you do? And it's a musical film, so they play music from the very beginning to the very end.
We're based out of Dallas, Texas, and Dallas has an interesting history with dueling pianos. So talk to us a little bit about that.
So dueling pianos is kind of the evolution of the sing-along, clap-along, drink-along tradition that starts in Ireland, comes to New Orleans, and then the first official dueling piano bars is Alley Cats at Dallas Alleys in Dallas, and they kind of forged the format, even as you see it in the film, with songs, jokes, roasting, sing-along, clap-along, all these different things, and it's kind of just to use everything at your disposal to entertain people with two pianos and a lot of alcohol.
So where did the writing process start in the story? I mean, was it inspired by actual people that you know or stories that you've heard?
The whole film is inspired by 20 years in the industry, people I know. I mean, probably every character is an amalgamation of 4 to 5 people that I know that are in that archetype, and we all recognize them. Some people who watch the film say, I've been every one of those people at some time in my career. I think I have. And the stories are just things I've heard, things I've lived. Some of them are humiliating, and I've been there. So, but the fact that it takes place in one night was actually probably more of a budgetary consideration, not a creative consideration. But my first script was years, across, all these different timelines. But since it's a humble indie film, we said, well, maybe we can just make it happen in one night, all these beats, and we think it worked out.
Was it more complicated instead of having a whole story of, a 10-year timeline? Was it more complicated, or was it easier to put everything in one night and not really go into the background of where these folks came from and where they're going?
I think that writing for a longer timeline it's more realistic, that there's these larger arcs. So obviously production-wise it was easier, but creatively you have to make a believable change happen in one night. So some people that have seen it actually criticize, like, well, I'd like to know more about why they love the club, or why, and it's kind of like, well, we have one movie to do this, So there was some difficulty trying to make some meaningful change and real catharsis happen in one night. It was a challenge.
Talk to us about the location, because the location is beautiful, it's realistic. So where did you guys film?
The location is actually a sort of abandoned dueling piano bar in Pontiac, Michigan. And interestingly, it's the bar where Drew got his start as a dueling piano player. And we went in there and we had just a lot of work ahead of us to rebuild this bar into something that actually resembles a real dueling piano bar. And we had Joey Ostrander was an incredible human being that just built a bar, and he did it in record time, and it was so believable that people were coming in off the street while we were filming trying to get a drink because they didn't realize that it was a film set. And that gave us incredible flexibility when we were shooting and planning the film, because now we could shoot anywhere. It's just a bar. We don't have to really, we don't have holes in the set. We could have them walk from point A to point B, and it was the real deal. And that was a good decision. And
talk to me about the music, because the music is original, but the music is live. So you didn't lip sync it or overtracked it. So talk to us about the struggles and how you accomplished this wonderful soundtrack.
So one of the things that I want to say about the music, because I'm going to hand it over to Drew in a second. He's gonna be able to say much more than I ever could. But it was so important to have the music performed live because we felt it would be authentic. there's sort of a documentary aspect to the film where we really took dueling piano players, we put them on stage, and we said, play that song that you learned in only a few days, which they're amazing at. We couldn't have done it with anybody other than dueling piano players. And they would kill it on the first take. And then it was our job to basically improve that and get coverage, but we knew every time we knew that we were getting this authentic, performance, that we were going to be able to cut into what feels like an actual night at a dueling piano bar. And I think that goes a long way in making the music as good as it is. And then Drew wrote and composed all the music for the film, and some of it specifically for the film, which is incredible because that just is a better result. And then he also took music that from his existing catalog and sort of, and he knows all of the inspiration behind his own music and the writing, and he was able to perfectly connect a bunch of existing works to the film in a way that was completely natural and you wouldn't question. So I could probably tell you he wrote everything for the musical, and it would be all the same.
I don't have much to add. Just I wrote, throughout my career, I've performed at piano bars, so my music sounds like it came from a piano bar. So when I was writing the film, these are the fence posts. This kind of song needs to happen, and I either already had it or I needed to compose it. And they say, your restrictions set you free. So a dueling pianos night is very diverse in its genre. So, for instance, I need this song. This character is feeling this way, and what's the genre I haven't used yet? 90s alternative rock. Okay, here's Tyler's song for this moment. I wrote it in like 10 minutes because there was so much information that I already had to confine me to that I just kind of pumped out. This is what we need right now, and I've been writing songs for my whole life, so it was fun to do, fun challenge.
The technical aspect of recording this is you have to hide microphones under tables or in people's shirts or boom mics. So talk to me about the technical aspect.
Yeah, definitely. So shout out to our sound guy Steve Schultz, who is just an absolute pro, and he's someone that him and I have done movies together for over a decade now, and his background is as a musician, and so what was really fun is trying to figure out how do you movie mic everything, which is close mics, boom mics, all that sort of stuff, but then also integrate that with a live performance and how you record that, which is kind of how you would record a live concert. And so a lot of it logistically was him hiding microphones in planters, hiding microphones over here, clamping things to ceilings, spreading the whole place for the microphones that would then go into his movie recorder. But then every real microphone that people were singing into, plus all the electrified instruments and everything, are all going to a mixer board like it would at a concert venue, and then running off the mixer board into his movie mixer again. And then we handed it over to Dave Feenup, who is our post-sound mixer, and it was nightmarish. He showed us his timeline of 400 tracks of audio, and he went in and had movie moments that were dialogue-y sort of things, and then he would go straight into basically mixing a live album. And Steve tapped in on doing the music mix, and Drew tapped in on the music mix, and it was a very tricky balance beam always to try to mic and get everything live. And honestly, it's your filmmaker duty to capture these amazing performances that these guys are putting out, and I think we really did that, both sound and picture-wise.
What types of software did you use to capture all this?
So I know the mixer that Steve Schultz uses is a Sound Devices, and then I believe all his close mics are Electrosonics. I'm getting real into the weeds on this sort of stuff here, and then I'll let Drew run with the musician side of it. But I think were the mics all Shure's? I'm trying to remember.
Oh well, the vocal mics were just Shure SM58s, which is kind of your the most. I don't want to. It's not it's the most even. It's a boring mic in a good way. Just how you want to capture color flat. It's these are flat audio recordings. You can bring out more high end, but it's not too high end to begin with. And then that's the vocal mics on stage. We use Yamaha's electric pianos, the ones that all the players in our industry love, which we got from Slam Grands. They were amazing. They shipped us the shells and the electric pianos. They have a company that it's amazing, and they did that for a mention in the film. And obviously, I'll tell you right now, Slam Grands, amazing. Thank you guys. But yeah, and then we edited in Pro Tools. Everything was Pro Tools. So
the other thing that I wanted to add to this was this is directly linked to the editing of the film as well. And so I don't think that it's normally an editor's responsibility to be very careful about what they're doing with the musical recordings in a film, but in this we ended up using Premiere, and it was amazing because we were able to synchronize all the footage to the audio, and then it literally was the film editors, so Cody, myself, Danny, Drew, job to keep everything intact. And so when we were editing, we had 50 tracks of audio attached to almost every piece of footage in the film, but we thought it was critically important to keep all of that intact, so then when we were done editing, everything was perfectly synchronized, and we could literally export that XML timeline or the OMF to Pro Tools, and then it was mixed. And so we're not joking when we say that the film was recorded live, and then the performances you see are real. We really cut it up and kept everything intact and kept everything linked. We didn't want to play any games because it was just an important aspect of our production and making the music authentic.
You got music editors, you got film editors. So what cloud-based, if you use the cloud to get everything together and distribute it among your team? Because this sounds like a traffic nightmare.
No, well, it wasn't.
So what I ended up doing was in 2020, COVID hits, and then we're not able to really see each other, and that was a challenge. And so I really wanted to figure out how, this movie needs to be the best it can be, and you can't do that without good tooling. And everybody needs to have the tools they need to be effective at, especially editors. And so early in that process, I devised a way to utilize Adobe Premiere, separate all of the content out into multiple project files and proxies, and then we distributed everything over Dropbox. And we're able to use, Premiere has this great feature called project locking, and so he could be on the East Coast editing some scenes in a project, and then I would log in, and the project lock would prevent me from opening it, so I'm not overwriting his work. And so we didn't lose anything. In fact, I think we lost one project file at one point, and I was able to just go into Dropbox and click the revert button, and it was solved. And so nobody ever had conflicts. Nobody was ever prevented from working on a scene, and that was really important to me, to the extent where we were pretty organized in the sense that we kind of broke the film up into scenes, and then we would divvy out the scenes to whoever it was, the person for the job. And so sometimes, Drew needed to make some changes, and Drew's so funny because he's not an editor by trade. He doesn't have a whole lot of experience, but he has such good intuition and great instinct, and also is just so technical when it comes to the music and sort of even just the writing of the film, that he was able to jump in on scenes and really make some changes and make some improvements that nobody else would even think of, because he would say, well, from a music standpoint, I could cut it up this way and move this around here, and then all of a sudden the whole scene works, and we're like, you just kind of rewrote the song there a little bit, you kind of put the pieces in the wrong, and he's rewriting the song during the editing process. And Danny was just amazing at jumping in on scenes, and then Cody as well, our main editor, was really kind of the one that set the tone for the film. He was the one that was able to come in and just remember he did this early on. We were going through this editing process, and we had developed this whole workflow, and we weren't quite sure exactly what we were doing. We just knew that, okay, we have all the pieces, we have all the footage, we're ready to get started. And Cody did a first pass, and there was one scene in that first pass that we literally did not change throughout the entire 3-year editing process. He had nailed it on the first go. It was the scene where Skip is coming out of the bathroom and going on stage and singing just an incredible song, and he had perfectly executed that scene, and then we sort of it was okay, well, now every other scene in the movie has to meet this bar, so let's start working towards that. And but that scene stayed the same, so throughout every project file for 3 years, that scene never moved. It was go to this one if you need inspiration.
Talk to me about the conversations you guys have had at other film festivals, and when you've showed this to your friends and family. What have the conversations been like, and what has surprised you from those conversations?
I think what's what's super common is what is dueling pianos, and then we sort of have to explain it, or we say watch the film because you'll get a good taste of it. And then there's also the other end of the spectrum where there's people who have been to dueling piano bars and they love it, and after they see the film, they just say that was like being at a dueling piano bar. That was amazing. It was everything that I remember from dueling pianos, and that combined with just the incredible talent of the duelers. They're real life dueling piano players, and when we were casting the film, it was we wanted to make sure that it was authentic, and we didn't want to have those scenes where you're seeing somebody sing a song but you never see their fingers on the piano. Like, we want to see their fingers hitting the keys, and we want the keys to be the right notes, and we want them to really give a genuine performance that is captivating and beautiful. And the duelers were able to do that because they do it day in and day out. It's their craft. They're excellent at it, and everybody is just completely taken by the performances, the musical performances in the film. Everybody just loves the duelers, and I'm just so glad that we made all the right decisions along the way to make sure that all the duelers were able to perform do their very best on screen.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's one of the biggest takeaways is people sit down, they feel like I just watched a feature film, and also I just watched an hour-and-a-half long concert, and it was awesome, and I think that's the big reaction that we're getting.
Feeding off of that comment, how important as filmmakers, how important is the film festival circuit to you guys? Because, let's face it, we can watch films on our phones and on our 90-inch TVs with the Rokus and stuff. So how important is it for filmmakers like yourselves to come to Naples and to come to other cities and show the film with a live audience? Because like you said, it's not only a narrative film, but it's also to a concert. So talk to us about how important that process is to you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is our world premiere. So, this is our first festival that we've done with this film. And tonight is the world premiere. So we actually haven't even seen it with an audience in the theater yet. So it's going to be pretty cool to be able to see it and experience it with other human beings in the space and in the cathedral that everyone goes to pray to the movie gods at. So that'll be really, really cool. Independent films in general, I think, thrive on the festival circuit, and that really is a way to build everything. And we were really lucky. Even before this, we had a traditional distribution offer. But one of the interesting things that we're doing is looking into other avenues of monetization. Like, we have this is all merch from the
you either shop at the same store or you have merch. So talk to us about that decision of making merchandise, because that costs money. Yeah.
Well, what's interesting is, so we partnered with an amazing company called Ann Arbor T-Shirt Company, which is owned by Jerry and Ricky Winowicki, and Ricky and I played on the University of Michigan hockey team together. We were the two goalies, so we go way back. But they're amazing in terms of just like they plugged us in with their designers, and we built these amazing designs. Christian was on a train in Italy, like designing things, and this is a logo from one of the characters' shirts in the movie, and they actually did the actual shirt for the costume department in the movie as well. So we literally had them pull up the old files, the vector files, to like create the shirt again. But it's become a really cool avenue for people to kind of integrate with the film and become part of the community and buy merch. And we played a big live show in Washington, D.C., where all the dueling cast came out and just shredded it for 2 nights of just mayhem. It was amazing. But we walked into the venue, which is about a 400 like packed human house, and there was a ton of duelers gear in the crowd already, and people were coming in their hats and they had their shirts, and like it was kind of incredible to walk into a space and see like fans of a movie that really hasn't been shown much already. And so it's been really special, man. So we're looking forward to kind of showing everybody and seeing which path we take. Is it going to be more of an indie band approach and kind of control our own destiny, or is it going to be more traditional film avenues? We don't know. We're going to figure it out.
Can I quickly say about how much this festival means? There's all sorts of metrics for did I succeed in my goal, and did we make a good film? What does that even mean? Before coming here, we hit all these great metrics. The whole Dueling Pianos community, for the most part, previewed it, and they loved it. And it's just a real honor to kind of represent the industry with the support of the industry, and they know that it's in the right spirit, it's in the right lighting of the, and that means for better and for worse. We try not to just make it too flowery. Don't want to be too cynical like the characters. But I think, I shared a clip with tinnitus in it on a tinnitus website, and all the people that responded said things like, I've never actually heard the sound captured so well, and they showed it to their loved ones and said, this is what I deal with on a daily basis. And I know it's not a film that's like it's not, like a tinnitus specific film, but that one thing that we did has helped people already. But then as far as coming to a festival, you have this metric of all these people who live in this art form and love this art form. A lot of people submitted to this, and a lot of people, you're going to get rejected, but the people that did accept this and that talked to us when we came here on the opening night really had so many nice things to say. You had nice things to say. It doesn't mean necessarily more than a layperson, but it means a lot. I'll say that.
Lastly, what are the websites and socials so we can follow your successes beyond Naples International Film Festival?
All of the socials are DUELERS Film, and the website is duelersfilm.com.
Awesome. Best of luck to you guys, and congratulations on such a great film.
Thanks, Steph.